Emergency destruct system is now activated.
Welcome to the Lorehounds. We're your guides to xenomorphically induced terror. I'm your host, David, and this is our coverage of Alien Earth Season 1, Episode 2, Mr. October. Given that we're running multiple shows right now, we are doing our Alien Earth coverage squadron-style. So I've assembled a international badass group, or is it badass international? I don't know which way those go.
I think either way works.
Okay. Anyway, a kick-ass group of co-hosts to help me cover the show week to week. Like I said, John is finishing up with Foundation. Him and Marilyn are covering that. Elysia, you and Jean and Aaron are about to start up Peacemaker. So all of the other various Lorehound main hosts are busy. So we have reached out to our community and our friends. And so we're going to have a different set of co-hosts each week. And this week it is you, Elysia, and Luke kind of representing the World Shift Dust podcasts. I just saw you guys, so it's kind of weird to like re-welcome you to the podcast.
Did you have a nice break, David?
I did. I went and ate a power bar and got a fresh glass of water. I think, Luke, you said your laptop had to do a Windows update.
Yeah, my laptop had to do a Windows update. So actually, it was quite fortuitous that we took a break when we did. Otherwise,
Very fortuitous. Come on, mother. Get with it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Spoiler warning for all things Alien ever. Next week, it's going to be Ian from the Captain's Pod and Mark from Nevermind the Music are going to be joining me for episode 3. Fun. We're going to be tending to record on Fridays. It's a little later in the week, later than we normally do for weekly coverage. You know, we try to hit that sort of 2-day sweet spot, but just the way schedules are working with everybody's life, we're going to be a little bit behind the curve of the other podcasts, but that's okay because we're the Lorehounds, and we get into a little bit more depth and nuance than maybe other fan communities like to do. So we're going to still provide value to you, even though we're a little behind the curve. Reminder that feedback emails can be sent to AVP, that is AVP as in Aliens versus Predators, AVP at thelorehounds.com. Of course, you can join us on our Discord, where we've got separate channels for each of the episodes. There's a lot of great discussion happening already. If you have something kind to say, we would love it if you were to rate and review us. We always like to see those on Apple Podcasts. And if you like what we do, we're an independent podcast. And so subscription dollars are a lot more consistent than advertising dollars. So we would love your support, either on Patreon or Supercast. Those are places where folks can subscribe. And again, links are in the show note. There's a link tree. We've got all of our links there, especially to all of our other fellow affiliate podcasts that we like to hang out. So here we are, episode 2. We did record episode 1 straight through. We took a little break. And Luke, what are your thoughts going into episode 2? What are your hot takes?
Yeah, I didn't enjoy episode 2 as much as episode 1. I mentioned in the episode 1 review that you've got to skirt with Alien. You've always got to skirt a line between your reaction being and your reaction being ew. And my reaction was very much more ew than this episode. It's just like, you know, the body horror element of Alien has always been there, and it's always been a big element of it. But the scene with the cat.
As a cat lover, I loved that.
I thought of you instantly, Elysia, the moment the ship's cat was there.
The scene with the cat was a bit unnecessary.
So good.
And the scene of like an 18th century fop.
Yes, that was weird, right?
Torso just dragging itself along. That's going to stick with me for a good long while.
Speaking of cats, my ship's cat has decided to make an appearance, and now she's knocking things off my desk. So if you hear a clatter mid-recording, you can blame it on Jonesy here.
Yeah, be a really Jonesy, but not the cat of the Maginot.
Yeah,
who I searched and searched. I could not find a name for the Maginot ship cat.
No, because they did that whole the promotional shorts that they put together as one short online, where it's like from the cat's perspective.
Yeah, they put a GoPro on the cat.
Yeah, and they didn't say the cat's name. They're just like, hey, that sort of thing. Yeah,
right. So it's not Aliens without a ship's cat, right?
But I guess they thought if they didn't name it, that we would forgive them for that horrible death.
Well, that's exactly probably why, right?
I am very much of the school. You can do whatever you like to the crew, but the dog must be saved. The cat, don't do anything to the pets. That's and also anything to do with eyes, just blah.
Right, exactly. Well, they got you on this episode. Elysia, what are your thoughts going into episode 2?
I mean, the stuff that you guys are just talking about is weird. Loved that. I mean, I did seem to, I think the first episode, I don't know, the first episode, the thing that stands out to me the most is just the cinematography and the production design of that crash.
Right.
And in the second episode, maybe there are more highlights for me, like the getting into the creature stuff more. Building out the worlds. I think there was, a lot of really interesting things happening. And the key thing I walked away from this episode thinking about was, boy, Cavalier is the mother flipping worst. And like that whole scene of him, I know we'll get into it more, but like him talking to the woman who wants to use this tech to build a better, more human future. And he's basically like, boring. I'm like, oh, I've thought so much about that stupid kid who's not even a kid, as I said. He wishes.
Right.
I can't wait to see more of the creatures after this. I'm curious about the cyborgs, as I keep bringing up, especially because we see in this, the xenomorph does not attack him. And we've only seen 2 reasons why a xenomorph doesn't attack. One is that you're pregnant with the alien, with the mother, with the queen. Or that you're a synth, and he's a cyborg. So again, begs so many questions about this Morrow character. Lots of questions about him.
Can I add one to your list?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a member of the Order of Felidae, because the alien regards Jonesy, but doesn't do anything, doesn't eat it, doesn't impregnate it, just leaves it. So
because the alien has is allies with this squid creature and the eye squid creature said the cats are mine.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I liked how this episode ended with, it's doing the classic tropes. Like, we said full spoilers. So at the end, Joe is taken away, and we know that Joe is, those of us who have watched the other things before, we know that he's going to be taken to the next nest and pasted to the wall, and that's going to give his sister a chance to rescue him and explain more about the whole life cycle and things like that. But I feel like I appreciate that it's being done on a TV schedule. They're taking their time to set it up and interweaving
8 hours
it
instead of 2.
Yeah, and interweaving it with so many other things. And I think that we'll get good character building out of this too, just to also see how all these different characters we were meeting respond when they interact with this xenomorph.
Right.
So I think it is, maybe you guys didn't like it as much because there's a lot of setup in it.
I think for me, it was more, this is a very me thing. This is a very peculiar thing, but there's a certain way that military, the way soldiers are portrayed on screen, the way that actors carry themselves in uniforms with weapons, radio communications, how people use radios and respond on radios, that just, if it's off, it's just a sour note to me. And I'm just like, there's no way that the colonel who's in charge of this rescue operation would be standing with the helmet and rifle on his chest. It's just like, no, he wouldn't have a long gun on him. It's just not the thing, or the way that Hermit's on the radio. And those are me things. Like, I'm totally going to own those and be idiosyncratic. So those things kind of bothered me a little bit. And it's not that I didn't like the episode. It's just, I enjoyed, maybe there was just more cerebral stuff in episode 1, where this was a lot more cliffhang. They're pushing us on the edge of a little bit more of the haunted house stuff and a little bit more of the monster, scary, stalky stuff. And it was fine. It just didn't excite me like episode 1 did, which was like, oh, synths and cyborgs and what is identity? Like those questions were more prevalent, I think, in episode 1. Luke, you were going to add something.
Yeah, I'm going to say those aren't entirely you things, David.
Okay, I'm not alone.
The trope of the commanding officer, being on the ground, being sort of in the rescue, like you say, carrying a long gun and all that. Yeah, it's annoying. And I think to pick up on something you said in the last episode, Elysia, about Prometheus, there was a lot of stupid people behaving stupidly.
Right.
In this episode. So like the whole thing with the party, like, what?
Yeah. Oh, well, see, no, I mean, that was 100% accurate how it would happen. I will die on that hill. But I was screaming not really, but in my head, I was screaming when Joe puts his face near those eggs. I'm like, come on, you are smarter than this.
A pulsing, and you've seen this thing chasing you. Like, why are you even going? Why are you even walking amongst them?
That scene in I'm really embarrassed. I will never live this down. But that scene in Covenant where they do that, where Aurum, the captain, puts his face over there. I actually did in a cinema packed full of people. I actually did out loud exclaim, "Oh, come on!"
Good for you. Good for you.
Then I remembered where I was.
I love it. So I think it's only episode 2, and it's hard to say, oh, I enjoyed it or I didn't enjoy it more. I just think there was more meat on the bones, so to speak, for episode 1 for me in terms of the world building stuff, where this was just moving our characters along and so be it. That's totally fine. Luke, can you move your mic a little closer to your mouth?
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, well, if that's it for our hot takes, let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we'll get into our scene by scene. And we'll talk about the warm open. It's not really a cold open, but I'm interested in talking about how he opened this up. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, David here. Wanted to tell you about a company that makes some really beautiful Middle-earth inspired products. Actually, I wish I had discovered OSHA slings when my daughter was little and I was using a lot of different baby slings and carriers. They sent me one of their Ancients of Gondor Ithilden baby carriers. Honestly, the design of this carrier is cool as hell. The quality is impeccable. It's a really smart design and super easy to use. I wish I had this when I needed it. I would have loved to show off my dad nerd cred at the time. But they also sent me a really nice blanket, the Misty Mountains Throw. And now that same daughter, she monopolizes it whenever she's on the couch. It's beautiful, just the right weight. It's brushed cotton, so it's breathable and keeps us really cozy. We've been having a lot of cold weather lately, so we're always fighting over who gets to use it. A little about OSHA. They're a family-owned Scottish company. They've been handcrafting products since about 2010. Everything's ethically sourced and made in their solar-powered workshop. Check out their website. They've got a bunch of information about their sustainability practices. That's something that's really important to me. And they have this huge line of official Lord of the Rings products. They're making baby carriers, throws, scarves, mugs, tea towels, and the designs are stunning. Like, go check out the website right now. There's a link in the show notes. New customers get 10% off with the code Lorehounds. Go to OSCHAslings.com. And we're back. So something new maybe other shows have done this, but rather than a previously on cutscene, we get a montage from episode 1 with the typographic overlay fade in thing, the very Aliens fade in thing. So I don't know. I thought that was a cool way to do the previously on. Did you guys pick up on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, Noah Hawley always thinking of new ways to do things.
Yeah. Right? I thought it was very cool.
I thought it was cool.
So searching the Maginot. So Hermit and Siberia and Rashidi search the corridors of the Maginot and end up in the medical bay for an episode of CSI Maginot. The trio push on and exit the ship into a building, all the while being stalked by the xenomorph. And this is one of those things I talked about this in episode 1 in our coverage there. There's a little bit more in this episode. I'm going to combine or collapse a couple of scenes just from an editing standpoint. They broke it up, but it's easier for us to talk about some combined stuff. So a combined scene here is then they reach the stairwell and they start their way down to a point where they need to make a jump. Hermit goes last and the xenomorph leaps after him. He escapes down a hallway and into an elevator that takes him back up the building. Elysia, what did you think of this this cat and mouse that we're starting here? Now we're getting the haunted house, but in a building ship thing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a good way to handle it again, where there are certain things we expect, but it was handled in a way that felt fresh. Whereas, I was saying in the last episode that Romulus is my second favorite film in the franchise, but it does lean too much in fan service. And here, I feel like they've struck the right balance. Like when I saw that before we even see the xenomorph, I saw that saliva or that whatever condensation, the goo drip on Joe's face. And I was like,
right.
Oh no, I had an out loud reaction, I think, to that. And then, but it was, we see him, he was afraid of jumping over this gap and we see him pull really deep. And yeah, I thought it was a great chase scene, a great way to introduce the fear of this character and also a plausible way to separate him from his friends.
Right. Luke, did you pick up, because you said you just recently watched Alien from 1979, yeah. And I thought that they did a really credible job of recreating the medical bay from the movie into the show.
Yeah, they did. And one thing I really liked about this episode is, and this applies to several different scenes, they do a really good job of hiding the xenomorph, in the sense that you should be able to see him. When it sort of reveals itself, it was obvious where it was standing, but your eye isn't drawn to it until until the director is ready to let you see it. And I like the fact that the xenomorph is not entirely CGI. There is some CGI, but it is a very, very tall, thin guy in a suit as well. And I think that gives the performance a physicality and a weight that grounds it, that makes it real. I did like the re-emphasis that we are search and rescue. There'll be I can't remember which character it is to say, but they actually do say, well, it's not for us to work out. There'll be other people along.
Yes, that was a Siberian says that. She's like, let the forensics.
Yeah.
Right. But I like that they establish Joe has this skill set. I mean, I'm kind of predicting, he's going to be the brains of an operation that involves him and his sister and maybe slightly, etc.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the elevator situation, which was very much Hicks in Aliens, when Hicks and Ripley are trying to escape and the alien, they're at the elevator door and you're like, close the elevator door, like hurry up. So that was like a fun little callback. And I have it somewhere in my notes later on, but I'm glad you pointed it out, Luke, the practical effects. And I forgot to mention this in the last episode, coverage 1, when Morrow is in the computer control room, we get some really beautiful shots of the alien. There's no playing of tricks of the shadow or anything like that. We actually get to see a lot of detail in the body. And I really appreciate the camera work that's going into the alien. And we see that in here, and we see it, bounding down the hallway, chasing, or when he's leaping. So I appreciate that the approach, the cinematic approach towards the xenomorph is a little bit different. And shout out to Cameron Brown, who is the actor who's a stuntman who was cast for this role. And if you listen to the episode 2 podcast, they have a very long interview with him, and he talks about movements and how he was cast for the role and the work that he goes through. They talk about how the alien's headpiece, it's all practical. And he said they got it down to about 20 minutes to get him dressed into it. It took sort of a 45 minutes, an hour. And then over the course of the season, they really improved it, which is an incredible amount of time because the original actor, Bolaji Badejo, who was the young Nigerian man who was spotted at a pub in England when they were filming the original 79 movie. And they're like, oh, hey, do you want to be in the movies? And that's his one and only credited acting role. He's since passed away, but he was an artist and he was studying in London at the time. And so anyway, this is a very different portrayal in the sense that the camera actually gets to spend time with the alien. And I really like that. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So
I love all the camera work.
Yeah. So let me scroll back up my outline because I had to go way down to find that other details. I really like the med bay because the bed seemed like it was the same sort of, it rotates out and then rotates in. So that was cool. Hermit talks about different causes of death, toxic, some sort of toxin, suffocation, and obviously the chest burster. So there's, they're compounding the mystery of what actually happened on the Maginot.
Yeah, suffocation. I think there was a fire that broke out first.
Okay.
But the question is, like, did Morrow or someone set it, or is it an accident? Yeah. I
think if I remember right, Morrow is in one of the cryo chambers. And so the question is it one of those engineers? Was it that disgruntled engineer that did something? Which would be an obvious thing, right? That, the disgruntled guy, right? Blame it on him. So who knows? We're hopefully they will So, meanwhile, back in Neverland, Dame Sylvia watches tapes of the children, which is a secret way of smuggling in exposition data to us about the characters. When Boy K arrives, very, very overtly eating an apple. And then they discuss the nature of the synthetic projects. And this is where we were saying in episode 1 or episode 2 podcast, it must have been, that they talk about how Boy K was never really a child. And then apparently a cut scene was he throws the apple away at the end of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish they had kept that. That would have been very cool.
Yeah, it would have been a cool beat in the scene. But
what did you think of Boy K's Elysia? What did you think of Boy K's attitude about being bored?
Well, I said this is a scene that I walked away thinking about the most, like kind of the most like furious about, which I think was the intention.
Good job, showrunners.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, so he is basically, this woman is talking about like, how can we use this technology to actually make a better, more human tomorrow? And he's like, boring. And like, and then he goes into his whole thing that I wrote a little bit of a rant here. He goes into his whole thing that he was looking for someone to finally speak to someone who is more intelligent than him, basically, slighting her to her face. And I wrote here, he's clear that he is the boring one, so far up his own ass he wouldn't know a good conversation if it bit him in it. But I've been really disturbed also just to see how many people take what he says at face value. Like, well, he's just smarter than everyone, so he wants to talk to someone who is smarter than him. And I don't know that I think he's as smart as he thinks he is. Like, okay, so apparently he created this tech, which is very impressive, but I'm not, I don't know. This reminds me, for instance, of like the Jobs versus Wozniak thing.
Right.
Where, for people who don't know, in the early Apple days, there was tension between Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, where Steve Jobs was kind of more the face of the company, but Wozniak was in many ways like the heart of the brain, if that makes any sense behind it. And I think he's ignoring his blind spots and calling it boring because I don't think he actually wants to meet someone smarter than him. He just wants to use it as a reason to complain, because I've always been interested in the theory of multiple intelligences. Right. I don't think it's really much of a theory, to be honest, but it's basically that there are different ways of being smart. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can be great with numbers. You can be great with verbal things. These are the things we normally measure, but you can also have a kinetic smartness, intelligence in your body. You can
Mm-hmm.
also, have a creative intelligence. There's a lot of different, there's a whole wheel.
Podcasting.
Sure.
Why do all these people gravitate to podcasts?
Yeah, I mean, so there's there's in the theory itself, there's like word smart, logic smart, people smart, body smart, music smart, picture smart, self smart, nature smart. And I just think that basically if he were really intelligent, if he were wise, there's a difference between intelligence and wisdom. And I think that Dame Sylvia has more wisdom. And if he were wise, he would understand that he should be listening to those who have different types of intelligence than him, whose thinking might cover blind spots that he has. And that's what I keep thinking about. He just wants reflections of people who think like him. And I hope that his end, which I'm predicting still, is that he's going to regret meeting his tech intellectual superior and die.
I think it's a really interesting point. I hadn't thought about it in the way that you're framing it here, which is if you want a good conversation, listen. Right? That's I think you really point out that he wants to be entertained and he wants to be, if he wants to have a wise conversation, talk to the other people that are around you and actually listen to them and be with them. And that will be enriching and human, right? And he's not looking for that. He's looking to be, I don't know. Luke, thoughts?
It was interesting because I've recently read a book that's picked up quite a bit of buzz about Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter. I think it's called Character Limit.
Okay.
And one thing that comes across really clearly in that book is that Elon Musk has chosen to surround himself with a small group of people who are absolutely convinced of Elon Musk's transcendental brilliance. And this is the thing. If you are surrounded by people telling you how brilliant and earth-shattering and changing you are, and if that is validated by every aspect of your existence because you are rich enough to be able to shape the world around you in a way that most people can't imagine, you will end up smoking your own dope. No matter,
sniffing your own farts.
No matter how no matter how psychologically well adjusted you are, and I don't think Boy Cavalier was particularly well adjusted to begin with. If you create a world in which everybody tells you how brilliant you are going to end up with that level of narcissism. And I think I think that actually weirdly grounded him as a very real character, because you see this all the time with people who have had good ideas, become obscenely rich, and then they're able to cocoon themselves into thinking that something like the metaverse is a good idea. Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh my gosh. Why am I'm totally blanking the name. Elysia, you might remember. What's the one about the super intelligent guy who lives in the weird mountain house and he invites a programmer for the weekend? And it's
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. I just recently watched Ex Machina, and that whole thing of these quote unquote genius individuals and how they shape and our stories all go into what is it to be human, about immortality. Elysia?
You almost like when you were describing it, the first one I thought of, because you didn't say the AI part, but the first one I thought of that doesn't have the AI part is Mountain Head, which is the new one from from what's his face, Jesse, the guy who did
Succession.
Thank you. I'm like, not Severance. Don't say Severance.
Our brains are so full of factoids. It's like hard sometimes to pull things out of the ether.
Yeah, but yeah, the new movie, it's one of the ones nominated for an Emmy for the movie category. Mountainhead is also about these guys who are the tech heads of the world having their secret mountain house meeting where they just sniff each other's farts. Yeah.
Pretty
Me would
funny.
love
Yeah,
it.
it was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was a little too timely. It was like, ooh, this is like, oh my God. Like, really? This is really what's going on?
Yeah.
Because it just felt right on the nose.
But this is the thing. You absolutely believe in that conversation. You
Yes.
absolutely believe that the boy Cavalier is saying exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah.
I mean that I think that in a way might be Boy Cavalier's like saving grace is that there is no artifice to him because he's never been in a situation where artifice has been required.
Well, we saw artifice in this episode, right? This episode where he talks to Yutani.
Yes, this is the one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And he just changes like on a dime. He's
which
like,
she knows as well.
and I think she's doing the same thing. Yeah,
completely. I think too. There's a point that was brought up about Kirsch, who, this walking LLM, right? That he's information, not wisdom. And you mentioned this as well, Elysia. That it's one thing to talk to an LLM and it can give you some facts and figures and it can reformat your document and doing a bunch of stuff. But at the end of the day, it is limited by its dictionary capacity, I guess you could say. And it's as opposed to actually having lived and walked and I hate to cliche, but loved and lost and all of these different experiences.
Well, we don't know his backstory, Kirsch's, or whether he's loved and lost. I think, because I said in the last episode, I just did a full Alien movie rewatch. And I think we tend to remember, especially the villainous synths whom we meet, like Ash and David.
Right.
But there were also like Walter and I forget the Winona Ryder character.
Right.
Who Winona Ryder was a synth built by other synths.
Right.
And
machines that build machines, which is what Kirsch says in the when they're flying in the ship last episode.
But I think that the synths in this universe do, even just like pure synths that aren't hybrids, they do often show emotion, or even David shows a lot of emotion. It's mostly anger, but he sure feels things. And I think, I don't know. I think that maybe something that can start as a walking LLM, like I think about this with my cats all the time, for example, that they have certain, like they'll have a track that they walk through the living room that seems hardwired. Like this is a programming thing. And sometimes like I want them to stop doing something. So I have to break the programming and try to introduce new programming instead.
When you try to interrupt a cat that's engaged in self-care and when they're cleaning themselves, you can't, right? They just go right back to it, or they keep they lick your hand instead or something, right? It's on.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that organic brains do also operate on this programming, but also if you are, I don't know, where is the line between being programmed to understand what an emotion is and actually feeling it yourself? Like if you were told in this situation, it is normal to feel sad, then you'd be like, why would you not think, oh, I'm in this sad situation? And especially I question how much how can synths grow hair in the prequels? Do they itch? How much of them is organic and has these? How much? What's the chemical composition like inside that's controlling them?
Right, and they even make a reference to that, Dame Sylvia and Kirsch, when they talk about all the different simulating hormonal balances to give a human consciousness, because her human consciousness is constructed to have interactions with neurochemical transmitters, right? And then you suddenly take them away. What is the consciousness doing? It's like, whoa, wait, I'm expecting certain inputs and certain, contextual circumstances that aren't occurring. And is that weird? and then we talked about neuroplasticity, right? Like, adult brains are not capable of making the transfer. So,
yeah. Yeah. And that begs the question again of, so I mean, hybrids then are by definition more human than synths. Where do cyborgs fall?
exactly. And I think it's an interesting question because we see Morrow several times very in control of his fear, very in control of his emotions. He says something about you got to control your fear. They can sense fear. And then when confronted, he stands absolutely still and the xenomorph doesn't kill him.
By the way, they can sense your fear. I was like, man thing. Man Thing's one of my favorite.
Discord,
Man Thing's one of my favorite Marvel characters, and he only attacks those who fear him.
Got it. All right, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll join Wendy and Slightly on the aircraft. And we're back. All right, next scene. It's a secret on the VTOL, or is it called the Wagtail? Wendy confides her secret about her brother to Slightly. He's not like us. He's not premium.
Ooh.
It's a great little line. Pretty short scene here. I don't know if there's a lot of detail. Just loving Smee and Slightly, being 8-year-old boys or however old they are on the show.
I do love I think it's Slightly where he's talking about having his father cremated.
Yes.
And
having a nightmare that his father wasn't actually dead. It's a throwaway line in some ways, but that is exactly the way an 8-year-old would think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is a great piece of writing.
Right. I mean, and we know that it's not like that's never happened in history. We know the whole thing about dead ringers. It's rare, but but at the same time, I have no doubt he was really dead, but it just leaves this chill in you to just wonder.
No, but it's such an 8-year-old's way of thinking about death.
I had recently talking with a professional colleague whose spouse had acute appendicitis and had to go in for surgery. And they had recently adopted a child who's still, integrating and getting settled into the home and everything. The child's a little bit older, I think in the 4th grade, something like that. And I was talking to my friend and saying, well, how's your spouse doing and all this kind of stuff. And how's your son doing? And she was like, well, he's processing. It was a little scary, but she started talking about part of his reactions were to ask questions like, is having a burst appendix, or appendicitis, is it contagious? Can I catch it? And she's like, oh, well, that's interesting. So there's so many things that we take for granted that for an 8-year-old, you wouldn't know and you wouldn't think. So it is, I think you make a really good point, Luke, of Slightly having these very inquisitive thoughts about wait, what if he wasn't actually,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think it goes to the credit to the work that the actors did and the production did and FX greenlighting the budget to saying, hey, yeah, you guys get to go work with a child psychologist.
Right. That was key.
Yeah.
Because they all pull it off. So that comes through in the directing and preparation.
Totally pull it off. All right. Flashback. We jump back to see Hermit at the office contracts in quotes, talking to an automated agent who ultimately denies his request to end his contract early so that he can attend medical school on Mars, for which he has a scholarship. Unbeknownst to him, Wendy is watching through the system, and the synthetics team realize that Wendy has the power to change the Matrix.
She's Neo.
That's right. So I'll put this one out here really quick. So we have a new, in the Lorehounds, we have different things like the Lopez test and the Shippey test and the Sanderson scale. So I think we've made up a new one called the Zatoichi scale for AI capability. Zatoichi is one of our regular Discord users. And he said, well, if you're on this scale of Murderbot to Neo, where would, and I was like, oh my God, we have a new scale to test the capability of AI. So I believe that we are seeing here this Wendy's power to alter the Matrix. Luke, do you have any thoughts about Wendy's capabilities?
No, just it's really cool the way that she sort of, because she does this at sort of several points through the 2 episodes. She sort of, everything is touchscreen, but you can almost see like with the way she reaches out and touches it. But she's reaching through it, not.
I don't think that they are touchscreen to everybody else.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, I mean, that's a thought just occurring to me now. Like, oh, maybe those aren't touchscreens. And she's actually.
My first watch, I thought that they were, but it's true. We don't see anyone else doing it. And we see other people looking at her like, whoa, even before the whole furry incident. So, but they seem surprised by it. So,
yeah, for sure. So, Elysia, we were debating this whole question of did Wendy change or not change the outcome of Hermit's request to end his contract 7 months early?
Yeah. So speaking of that effect where Luke's saying it's almost like she's reaching through the screen, there is this like ripple effect when she's affecting things. And so in this thing where he asks for the leave and then he gets, the interaction where he quotes the Ice Age movie and she has the robot quote it back and he's like, what did you say? And then the robot just says, request denied. I noticed a ripple right before the request denied. So that's what I was saying is the slight visual cue that supports which you're saying that maybe she did like that effect that she was actually affecting it. At the first watch, I thought it was her pulling out of affecting it.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'll say maybe she did in a way, but I think if anything, like if she had not been involved in that interaction at all, I think there is a 0% chance that this request would have been approved.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially because he made a heartfelt plea. And the robot does not care. But this is definitely...
He says, can I talk to a human? Have a heart, right?
Yeah. But so then the question is, could she have changed it? And it seems like, maybe she could have done the approval. Would Boy Cavalier have allowed it? Probably, because he would be curious to see. And, people are saying maybe she's paying too much attention to her brother. But by not changing it to allow it, how guilty should she feel about that?
Right. And this idea of wanting to keep her brother close. Go ahead, Luke.
And also, it's in this scene that we find out that the Lost Boys are like hardwired into Prodigy's computer network. So data is constantly flowing in both directions.
Correct.
So that is very Chekhov's gun. Like there is clearly that is Chekhov's data stream, right?
Right, exactly.
Wendy's both Neo and Agent Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Just scanning the outline here. A couple of things. Joe Hermit says he's the last surviving, right? So he's got this sort of. There's a lot of a layering of emotions of his, family, his father passing, his sister passing. He mentions that he was wounded twice. That he's trying to keep his promise. So right, there's a lot of deeper character moments that are being illuminated by these little throwaway lines as he's talking to the agent.
Do you guys find it notable that their mother is never mentioned? They talk about their father, their sister, their brother, but their mother is never mentioned.
That's a good point.
I am curious about that. And I do also wonder if every time we see their father, like it looks like Joe has especially fond memories of their father, but there's something about their father lying to Joe, obviously, about Wendy, which could be understandable enough, but he seems to have a dour expression, which again, we already said that's Noah Hawley, the showrunner. I can't wait to find out more of their story because I don't know if the childhood is as happy as Joe is recalling.
Well, they're drinking beer together at one point. So
as a small child. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like,
that's always a good sign.
Exactly. A couple of final other little notes. There's the scene from Romulus where Rain is also asking to be released from her contract. But that's to a human being, not an automated agent.
Right.
But she's denied because of the public order resentencing directive. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong IP. That's Andor.
Yeah. As I
But
say,
it was the thing. I watched that scene and I went back to that specific scene in Romulus, and the counter resets like right as she's talking to her. So,
oh man,
yeah.
But I was thinking, like, of course, I had to think about that scene with this scene in Alien Earth. But I was thinking, like, and this is, I was like, at least you have nice weather, like her.
Yes, her planet.
And it's just, I would rather be in Thailand than Jackson's hellhole or whatever it's called.
Right. Yeah. Well, what was the name of it? Oh, I can't. I'm blank.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
But did you guys have the impression, like,
Johnson Star? Right.
We know this is a dystopia from the previous episode.
Yeah.
But this was the scene that sealed it for me. This is definitely a dystopia, because basically, I mean, we've sort of, it's mentioned in Romulus, and it's kind of a background throughout the Alien movies. But these people are basically bonded labor.
Yeah.
They're one step up from serfs, and also as somebody who has become quite practiced at dealing with large impersonal bureaucracies and spent a lot of time on phones being asked to press 1, press 2,
right,
or increasingly having to deal with chatbots. It's like, this is the way the world's tending. Like, it's only going to be another 20, 30 years before I am standing in front of basically a video camera.
Yeah.
With an LLM behind it.
Oh, yeah. We are definitely well in that direction already. Call customer service and see. But, okay. So question for you both. I know that the lack of, David, you and I were recently talking in the subscriber feed about the movie Heat, and that is obviously renowned for its precision with military handling. Right. And I understand this is the opposite in that way, and that's rubbing you both a bit the wrong way. My question is, though, considering this is bonded labor, could it be that we're being told that these are not properly trained people?
Or not as highly trained, maybe.
Right. I mean, barely trained probably. And just like, here's a gun, go defend. We don't care if you die.
Yeah, it's quite possible. And we already know from Alien Romulus that these guns are basically self-aiming.
Yeah.
So, that's entirely possible. But if that is in fact the case, I just wish, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but could somebody actually, add that as a throwaway line? So,
maybe they will. Maybe they will. Let's see.
I feel like they're really trained, though, because they are up on the rooftop working out. They've got their equipment. They feel pretty. What I did notice was the international nature of them. So that there were, people from that represent different parts of the Earth. Phenotypically, is that the right way to say that? I'm trying to not step onto something.
They have a bunch of different accents. So
There's just people from all over the world.
That's the best way to tell.
Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting, but they seem to be, reasonably well trained and reasonably professional. But I think it goes back to what I was floating before is in evolution of the form of human governance, they're not serfs, and they're not slaves, but they are bonded, and they're bonded in this in the wraparound is corporate.
Yeah, they're indentured. Yeah. Again, so many Murderbot parallels. Anyone who's enjoying this, watch Murderbot. It's funny Alien Earth.
So I thought that was an interesting thing, and I love the punch card at the end, right? With his record of his visit air denied. So. All right. Yeah. Let's move on. Oh, and I just have to call it one last little thing. I posted a screenshot in our Discord, but if you want to see it, but there's this great shot of Wendy's reflection in the screen looking at Joe with the reflection of the automated agent in between them. But then all of their faces sort of creating one giant face, all superimposed on each other. Just gorgeous cinematography, just real tricksy stuff. It was very cool. Anyway, on scene, the team lands at the crash site, and we learn that Wendy is hearing some high frequency sounds, which of course we are alluded to in a previous scene, that she can do that. In the command tent, Kirsch gets a briefing, and we overhear some clues. Meanwhile, Wendy scans the video feeds looking for her brother, and when she finds him, she takes off, and Kirsch sends Slightly with her. Did you guys pick up much in here? I didn't really have many notes for this. Just that there was one note that I had, which was Curly definitely gives Wendy a look when Wendy is scanning. Like Curly's like watching, like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, go for it.
Also, we kind of know this from the previous episode, but we get it like confirmed from the colonel in charge that Prodigy are really cheapskating the rescue effort.
Okay,
that he's asked for more resources, and and the Lost Boys and Kirsch are the only people that have actually.
It's a good. Yeah, I didn't pick up that inference.
So I mean, actually, that may kind of explain why the colonel does turn up in the apartment later on, because maybe they're just really short-handed. But yeah, where he's doing the scene in the previous episode about, triaging the survivors by income bracket. The colonel actually goes on, so he got about 3 or 4 lines basically explaining that I've asked for more people, resources, medics, and you people are the only people that have turned up.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
Yeah. And this is also why I wouldn't be surprised if they're not shelling out for state-of-the-art ships, and why the Maginot is a, off the rack. Like, what's it called? The Nostromos.
Right. Yeah. All right, next scene. You've got a call. Back at Neverland, Boy K monitors the Lost Boys, and he's very excited by it. He gets a call from Yutani, who says that they should send her a bill for the damages, but that she wants her shit back. So my lawyers call your lawyers, and then they work it out. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that again, not to get too far into the weeds of this, because it's really not that important in the grand scheme of things. But if this is a world run entirely by corporations, like, there must be some sort of legal order that stands outside of those corporations. Otherwise, why would lawyers be getting in touch with lawyers? Like, if the corporations are in charge, who's running the courts that arbitrate? Who's running the courts that arbitrate?
Interesting. Yeah, because there's that belies that there's a legal system to adjudicate these differences.
Yeah, that is outside of, beyond, sits above.
Or maybe it's just it has to happen by mutual agreement.
Yeah, well, mutually assured destruction, right?
Right. I mean, whatever gets them to that point, but maybe they need to find the one team's lawyers and another team's lawyers needs to. I don't know. I'm not saying that courts don't exist, but I'm just saying that maybe their system doesn't look like ours.
And I don't think it makes an awful. It's not. I don't think it's going to be like important to the plot.
Right.
But it was just an interesting thought.
No, but and I think it's part of what is fun for us as podcasters is to like, that's an interesting idea. Like, let's explore that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, how does this work, and why would they say lawyers if there's no court systems or whatever? Because what do you have to back that up at some point?
Yes.
And now we cede. Right. We say, okay, I won't take up violence because I'll adjudicate it in something that is a reasonably fair. That we can agree.
Maybe there's a Supreme Court where the corporations get to appoint justices.
So they each get to appoint so many, and they all have to abide by whatever decision.
Messy. No matter what, it's messy.
Yeah.
I will say this is the one place where Yutani, she doesn't have a lot of options, but she totally tips her hand and gives Boy K leverage in insisting that she wants her stuff back.
This is why I think that...
Is this your theory?
Yeah, this is why I think that...
she's beating him?
Yeah, because we see, like, he does this remarkable thing right before she calls, the way he delivers that line, he's like, all of this data coming in, it's like Christmas. And then, I forget his second says, like, message for you, sir. And it's Yutani on the phone, and he does just the whole holding it with his feet is just, I don't know if that was direction or coming from the actor itself. Inspired, brilliant, exactly what this guy would do. But he suddenly changes his tone. She's like, it's an expensive day. And he's like, well, let's remember all the people who died, who he didn't give a fuck about 2 seconds ago.
Right.
So,
exactly.
we know, because we see his perspective. So we have a good idea of what game he thinks he's playing. but we have no idea what game Yutani is playing because
Okay.
I would assume she is as fake as him. And she's saying like, oh, it's so expensive. Oh
Right.
boy. I don't know. I feel like it's internal sabotage. That's my prediction.
Okay. My only thing was they would have been able to predict the landing zone a little bit based on the trajectory of the ship. And why didn't they have forces? Why didn't anybody already know where this was going? So I just think that's interesting.
But why? Who should know? Like,
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody inside Prodigy would know, right?
Okay, so this is a little bit tinfoil hat.
Okay.
And I've just
We love it.
I got tinfoil by the roll behind me here, so pull it out.
I've just literally come up with it just now, so this may make
Fair.
no sense at all. But okay, if you've sent out a deep space exploration vessel and it's found alien life, and your plan all along was to return that alien life to Earth, what if the game Yutani is playing is, well, we don't know what this alien life will do, so we don't want to send our people in to try and recover it.
I think this goes into what Alicia's. Yeah.
So why don't we bait Prodigy into sending their people in to try and recover it, and we will see we'll just stand back and see what happens.
Well, my thought is more, I don't know, it seems like they really wanted the xenomorph. That's the one thing that he really makes that Morrow makes an effort to bag. But
Sure.
I wondered if they just
literally,
oh, that spray bag, so cool. But I think maybe it's internal sabotage. Like they knock out their communications, they unleash these. Maybe these are species known to propagate. I don't know. Yeah. And then they can come in and collect them later from the wreckage for study.
All right. More boxes of cereal going up for internet point bet here.
We'll see.
All right, monsters.
Is that the currency for internet betting?
Yeah. Internet points are in our world are cereal.
Okay.
Bowls of cereal. Even on our little Discord icon for it, it's a little bowl of cereal. So
okay.
It comes from when John and I were covering, was it Mandalorian or some Star Trek thing?
Andor season 1 with Cyril and his cereal?
Oh, yeah.
That too. That added to it. That added to it. And then
Mandalorian, you have to eat your cereal to enjoy the
you just have to let go and just sit down in your pajamas on a Saturday morning and just have a good time while you're eating bowls of cereal. So, but it did transpose. There was a transposition too with Cyril and his cereal, like that reinforced it. So anyway, a little Lorehounds lore. Over to monsters. Wendy and Slightly enter the ship through the clothing store and climb the stairwell, while Kirsch and the others enter through another hole in the ship and discover the plant pod creature hanging in the hallway near the lab. Curly, Smee, and Nibs discover the bodies of Hoyt and Anat, and we see a phase of the blood bug as it is engorged. They then encounter the ship's cat, which has been infected by species number 64. That's the official designation, which then attacks Nibs and they catch it under a pan. And then this is one of these combined scenes where I'm adding a couple of other things out of order. Kirsch is called into the lab while Toothless stays with the plant pod. Kirsch scomps into the Maginot mainframe and starts downloading the data files. And the plant pod extends a tentacle at Toothless. And then Kirsch... Toodles. Did I say Toodles? Toothless. Do I have it I have it wrong in my outline?
No.
Is it Toodles?
It's Toodles.
Okay. It's Toodles. Why do in my head it was Toothless. Sorry. That's weird. Toothless. That's a weird name. With Toodles.
Well, it's the name of a dragon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair. The plant pod extends a tentacle at Toodles, and then Kirsch sends Smee to secure some eggs and to meet up with Wendy. All right. So there's a lot compressed here into this one scene. Luke, thoughts, feelings, feelings.
I think Karsh definitely gets the line of the episode with presents his flora, but maybe fauna.
Well, I'm gonna go Dune on you here really quick, and for me it was he says fear is for animals, and that was like, oh man, that's like the whole test for humanity, Bene Gesserit stuff. You know, it's all right there.
Yeah.
Can you control your fear? Can you control your emotion? And if you're a synthetic, same with Neo in the Matrix, breathing, is there air around you? Like, why do you need to breathe heavily, right? You're in the Matrix.
Again, I thought that the Lost Boys, and it would be unfair, I think, to pick out any one of them in this series of scenes. The acting and the childlike quality
So
of it,
good.
it's top notch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Particularly when they're sort of trapping the eye monster thing under that pan, and he grabs, I don't know what is it like a
Microscope or something that he puts on top?
and sticks it on top. Yeah, that's also it's just me, but when Karsh plugs himself into the mainframe and he's downloading all the information, you almost see like an emotional reaction of, oh crap. Like
these guys are up to some naughty shit, right?
Yeah, it's subtle, but there's kind of
Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, we're in real trouble here.
Yeah.
Just to say again, the eye monster.
Can we call it an octopi with EYE at the
end? We actually have. Where is it in my notes?
It's in just a number, but that's species 60. No. Oh yeah,
no, I had
Trypanohyptia.
Oh yeah, there I do have it. Yep. Mm-hmm. So in one of I believe it was in one of the trailers, there was a screen of in the lab, one of the computer screens displaying a whole bunch of pages and pages of information. And so if you freeze framed, you could capture all of that. And so that's where we get the information about the scientific name. And people on the internet are calling it the eye octopus or the eye parasite. But yeah, technically it's identified if, what's the xenomorph's species number? I'm going to get in trouble now.
I don't know.
The heads. It has a specific species number. And it talks about how it can hijack the nervous system and reanimate the body, even if it's dead. And obviously it's intelligent and can problem solve. So, and when Kirsch walks into the lab, that's the data display that is on the screen is for T. ocellatus. So
okay. I mean, I thought that was super cool, even though I also I hate when animals die, but then I am rather desensitized on film. And I thought that was just such a cool reveal with like, first the cat looks up from licking the blood and we see that it's a zombie cat. And then the eye comes out on stalks. Like that was so cool. I can't wait to learn more about that creature. And then the eye splits into a bunch of eyes. It was so cool and unique. So I'm very interested in the creatures overall.
Yeah. And I think we're supposed to get 5 overall in the thing.
Yeah.
So we've had the plant pod, we've had the blood bugs, we have the eye creature and the xenomorph. So we've got one more that we haven't seen yet.
And there's a glimpse of it in the trailers, and it looks like some like giant flying bug the size of a normal person's forearm.
I wonder if that's one that like hit itself on the glass and broke,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, that broke. Oh, okay. Yeah, but
it didn't break out. It just cracked the glass, and the kids were like, "Whoa, what the hell is that?" So, by the way, don't at me. But because I forgot, but the xenomorph's species number is 121. Okay, bye.
Well, that is more knowledge than I ever had.
Don't want to get in trouble. All right. Eat the rich. Wendy finds Hermit's backpack, and they also discover slime and bear claws. Hermit finds one of his unit. They hear a party and encounter his lordship, who that's how they refer to him on the official podcast, who refuses to leave the party because he said the name of the...
He said, Cavalier will call me personally. We're in the same club.
Yes, which is a great line. But he mentions the name of the people that were visiting him, and it was also a famous name. Forgot to write it down.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the so-and-sos are over. It was, it's like Maginot. It's something like that. Anyway.
They were dressed in like French Revolution era dress, so probably a reference to that, but I don't remember.
So they're attacked by the xenomorph. Party's over, and then Hermit is saved by Morrow, who uses his fancy taser spray foam gun. And then later, Morrow is stopped by a Prodigy patrol, and the xenomorph kills everyone except for Morrow, who shows no fear.
And whatever knows fear burns at the man things touch.
Good old man
I
thing.
mean,
Are
it's
we going to
funny
get more
because,
man thing?
I mean, we should. There's probably a Midnight Suns coming up soon, which is the darker side, the horror side of the universe, where we'll probably get the characters back from Werewolf by Night, combined with like Blade and stuff, Moon Knight. But the thing is, okay, so Man-Thing, the Marvel character, if you fear, then Man-Thing will touch you and you burn and like melt like acid. So that is also very like the Xenomorphs, which have that acid blood that will burn you and melt you.
Gotcha. So, Luke, thoughts about this? It looked like Morrow changed his shirt, maybe a little ruse de guerre there.
Yeah, this is such a weird scene. Like, I don't like. This is why I know I couldn't be a fiction writer, because who comes up with the idea of a bunch of 18th century fops holding a party in a building that's been crashed into by a spaceship, people?
I mean, let's think back to COVID, like,
and also I thought, like, oh, this could be really interesting because this could be like Alien meets High Rise. Are we gonna like find out that like there's some weird dystopian society going on in the build? Oh, I think we kind of do because of the different levels. But it's just like, dude, your building's been hit by a spaceship. Surely.
Well, and the soldier is trying to explain that.
Right.
Okay, I get that your apartment is a long way up, but surely you noticed the whole apartment building getting hit by a spaceship thing.
So much noise, I think his lordship says.
The sheer delusion of thinking the Cavalier would call you because you're in the same club, even if communications works, he does not care.
This is the point.
You are, yeah.
This is the point of the part of the point of the scene, right? I think you put your finger right on it, Elysia.
Yeah, but it's such a weird little interlude, and also there's so much noise thing. When he is a torso like crawling away, he's still mumbling that to himself.
Yeah.
And that I mean, you kind of don't need to be reminded of it, but it is good to be reminded of it every so often. Like the xenomorph is an absolute killing machine. Like that like it probably lasts about 10-15 seconds, and like at least half a dozen people are just eviscerated in no time at all.
And he puts it all on beautiful, gory display for us in that camera shot, that wide shot of the room.
The shot at of the women in their 18th century dresses, gored and sitting draped over chairs at the table was absolutely a beautiful painting. Yeah,
absolutely. Don't you have a Gilded Age podcast coming up soon?
Yes, we're recording it tomorrow.
Perfect. I think this is a little earlier than the Gilded Age, but
there's less goring. Although there was a severe gunshot wound. Oh, and there was a carriage incident. Anyway,
tune into that podcast for discussions.
And also, I love Morrow's line, guys. I think it's like I'm not the biggest problem.
Yeah. That's that happens in this episode. Yeah, when we're in the scene when the guys come to.
But I think it's interesting that they do already have tech that will take down a xenomorph at least for a period of time. Because like that taser gun thing is actually really effective in putting the xenomorph.
Well, I mean,
down and that spray. I want that spray stuff. That spray stuff would be really useful, like instant bag.
Oh, can you imagine moving house would be great for that, especially if it like cushions it and stuff.
It would be awesome. Just doof, doof, doof.
Yeah,
I think. Go ahead, Elysia.
I would say Morrow knows a lot about the creature, and this is why I wonder if they do. They already had that intel from David from the prequel movies or whomever else that somehow they already know.
Well, and to build on your point, what's important here is that Morrow knows that the taser gun is effective, and he knows how to move the body.
Right.
Right. Those are learned skills. Those aren't, how do you know that stuff? Well, you had to have interacted that way, which goes back to earlier, the engineer saying we lost a lot of good men collecting those species.
True.
So that they have earned knowledge around that. In the episode 1, in one of the little flash scenes that is of the Maginot, there is that scene of Morrow holding a handgun that has a blue light attachment of some kind on the underneath of it that looked similar to, I didn't actually freeze frame the rifle that he has in this, because then there's the spray foam thing. But I'm assuming that is the same taser equipment used. So knowing that you can temporarily shock one of these creatures is a pretty important factor.
Yeah.
And I think that's new world building lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they know how to contain these things.
Yeah, and like the xenomorph isn't actually invulnerable. You can actually. You don't have to like blast it out in airlock in order to kill it. You can actually.
Mm-hmm.
There was and there's that great scene too of the little electrical discharge on the teeth of the xenomorph. It was so good. So there was one minor weird little continuity thing, and I don't know if either of you caught it. But we went from Hermit laying on the ground and the rifle being across the room to the next scene we see Hermit standing up holding a rifle, and it was like a weird jump cut. It was like one of those little things that bothered me. And there was another little thing that bothered me when Smee and Kirsch and all of them are looking at the side of the ship to enter it, and there's like a chasm. And then the next scene, we see them walking down the hall, and I was like, oh, CGI budget cut. They didn't want to show them leaping over the chasm. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that was one of those things. But it feels like there's a few places where they chopped for time, because these are long episodes, right? These are hour-plus episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know. Well, I was going to say, I know that they chopped. For example, you mentioned that scene with Cavalier throwing away the apple at the end that they talked about in the main podcast. So, yeah, certainly they had to. I don't know. These things didn't bother me. I just thought it was jump cuts. I just recently watched Breathless, the Jean-Luc Godard classic film from 1960 for the first time, and it's famous for its jump cuts. But the jump cuts there are like, they kind of melt your brain, and I know for a lot of people in a good way. For me, I'm like, why are we doing this? Why? It is so disorienting. So compared to that, this is like, no, this was good. This was perfect for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take another quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk about Mr. October. And we're back. So Wendy and Slightly find the aftermath of the xenomorph attack. Hermit finds the 1977 Reggie Jackson #3 home run baseball, and Wendy and her brother are reunited. Comms are back up, and Kirsch orders Wendy to the front section of the ship. I realized when I was doing my notes here that not only am I not a big American baseball fan, but I'm probably talking to two people who don't follow American baseball as well.
I don't know. I like baseball. Okay. I don't.
You do? I'm surprised. I didn't know you were a sports fan.
I'm not a sports fan. I said I like it. Okay. Like, that's not.
okay. I got it. Yeah.
But I was thinking about this because I was thinking my dad is a huge sports fan.
Okay.
So I was thinking, a lot of my knowledge or experience of sports comes from what, he's the one who's tried to explain the rules of football to me, American football and things like that. And I was thinking there's always this trope in shows or movies where someone is obsessed with a particular game in this way from like a certain time. And I don't think I've ever seen my dad, at least, rewatch a 1977 game. Like he watches sports, but he's watching what's happening right now. And I don't know if that's something, if people who do that, who go back and have like a game they're obsessed. Yeah. Okay. Luke.
Yeah.
Luke's a big football fan.
Not baseball, but yeah, I watch old football, soccer games. That there's a couple of very good YouTube channels that have put like whole.
Do you have one you're obsessed with or something?
I would say yes, I do. And this is so sad. It is. Yeah, it is the 5th round of the FA Cup 1991, Notts County versus Manchester City.
Watch us get no email about any other part of the show, but then they're going to write in to talk to Luke about the football.
I watch that semi-regularly. I have that on in the background quite often. So
interesting.
Yes, it is a plausible thing to do, unfortunately.
No, I mean, okay, that's good to know. I mean, I have like basically a study of one. I don't know.
So Noah Hawley is a personal fan of the sport of American baseball. And so obviously he's weaving his things in here, but there's a metaphor that's going on. He's using this whole thing as a metaphor, which is Mr. October, the concept of Mr. October, which is somebody who rises to a challenge. And that's the quote that, that they share between brother and sister, which is the world gives you one moment to shine. And so just a little historical context, Reggie Jackson, Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, in 1977, Game 6 of the World Series, he hits 3 home runs from 3 different pitchers at consecutive at-bats, and they were all the first pitch of his at-bat. So on the inning comes up, it's his turn in the rotation. A different pitcher each time, because they keep rotating their pitchers because it's not going well for him, and he hits the first ball that's thrown at him in those 3 times in a row in his at-bat order, which gave them an 8-4 win over the Dodgers. And it was the first World Series win in 15 years that the Yankees had won in 15 years. So it was an extraordinary occurrence. And it happened in October. And so then this idea of Mr. October, that somebody who can rise to the challenge in a clutch moment. And so I think we're getting Hawley layering in this idea of heroism, standing up in the moment, and drinking beer with your son while you watch games from 1977 in the flashback memories of the television show.
And actually, as somebody who knows nothing about baseball, I actually think that the way Joe explains it, the way it's written, it's really concise. It gets across exactly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it gets across exactly the point you've just made. And you can definitely, because Josh Hawley wrote this episode, didn't he?
Noah Hawley, yeah.
Yeah, Noah Hawley, sorry.
Is he credited? You know what? I didn't pull that detail, but it's his fingerprints all over it, for sure.
Yeah, because you can tell whoever wrote this is a real fan of the sport, because it's very well and very concisely explained. So yeah, even as somebody who has never watched a baseball game in their life, I understood. I mean, I guess it helps that I'm into sport, but I intuitively knew the point he was trying to make.
Perfect. Well, that's good. Okay. So that's good storytelling.
Yeah. This one was directed by Dana Gonzalez, but indeed written by Noah Hawley.
And Dana Gonzalez, I think, is a longtime collaborator with Noah Hawley.
Okay.
I think I heard it on the official. Was it on the? I forget which podcast. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. One of the podcasts I listened to said that he was the director of photography for a lot of Noah Hawley projects on Fargo and things like that. So, and he's been doing more directing with Hawley. So, this for me, this moment when when Wendy smiles at her brother as she walks in, this is the moment that I was into Sydney Chandler's portrayal, but then this was the moment where I was locked in 100%. The way that she smiles, just her facial movements, the subtlety of seeing her brother in person. All this time she's watching him through screens and reflections, and then I love that her reflections in the window, and then bam, we get the reality of her being there. It was just he set up this really great visual language of them being apart and watching each other through these screens, and then to be in person was just really well executed. It was a very smooth and creative way to bring out this earned moment. And I really fell for Sydney Chandler in this too.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of her performance. And the funny thing is, so I saw her in Don't Worry, Darling. When I looked her up, I didn't realize it's the same person because there she's playing a grown up, not just a grown up body, but an actual
Right.
grown up with short hair. So that was also thrown. So it was so interesting to see her do something completely different and completely master this mix of the AI mind, the childlike innocence.
Yeah, like you're playing a childlike mind. You're an adult in an adult body playing a child in a synthetic body. Like if that's not a head trip as an actor, I don't know what is. And I think, like you said this, Luke, too, earlier, that all of these actors.
All of them. It almost... I mean, Sydney Chandler is obviously like the main character, but it feels kind of unfair to pick any one of them out because they all absolutely nail it.
And I thought, at least my final note for the scene was that when Hermit goes to give Slightly aid, it tells us about Hermit's character. Like, he's always thinking about other people, right? Oh, you look hurt. Let me help you. But Slightly's a synth. He can't be hurt, right? and so it puts us into this mind, not only of Hermit's nature, but also reminding us of the nature of the synths. Then if we think of Hermit as not being a synth, when he's captured by the xenomorph falling down the thing, we know that that's going to hurt when they land. Like, however they land, that's going to suck for Hermit, right? And so I think, again, Noah Hawley's really doing this great job of creating a context for us to think about these characters in these ways.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, well, we're kind of near the end here. So into the abyss, on their way to the front of the ship, Wendy reveals the truth to Joe. Well, after Slightly kind of spills the secret, because Slightly's no good at keeping
man, that was so telling about this character. I think he's going to be trouble. I love him, but I think he's going to be trouble.
100% agree. Of course, they're being stalked by our xenomorphic friend, and Wendy can hear something, but what is it that she's hearing? The group encounters a clutch of 6 eggs under the smoky blue laser this time, not a green laser. And Joe thinks it's a good idea to look over the top of a pulsating egg. But he's saved by the xenomorph, who falls back into the abyss. And we close with Stink Fist by Tool. Yes, all of us collectively screamed out when he stuck his head over the egg.
Yeah.
Luke?
Second favorite line of the episode. I still don't think my big toe looks like a thumb. That is actually audibly went, oh, when they again, that is again, it's brilliant, right? Because that's such an 8-year-old thing.
Yeah,
you've had that conversation and you've been thinking about it all night,
right?
Yeah, they sold me, at least, on the brother-sister aspect of it, despite the fact that we never saw him with the, what was her name, Marcy version, the child. But still just this dialogue with these little, like, and I forget what the other line was where he tested her and she, it's just such specific things that kid siblings say to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's perfect. Did you feel that it was earned for you, Elysia, this reunion?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they didn't. It's in episode 2, so it's not like they rushed to it, But I'm glad they didn't drag it out either.
And it set the stakes for the cliffhanger ending. Literally a cliff involving a cliff,
right? Where
we just got reunited, and we're like, oh, good, they're now she's got to go on the rescue mission, right? She's got to go rescue Newt.
I understand why, although he's a much better actor than the Newt kid. Sorry. Sorry. But I understand why she has to go after him. And this is going to obviously drive the plot of discovery of what are these creatures and blah, 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 and all that. Yeah.
They mostly come at night.
Mostly.
Well, and Luke, I was thinking too, like you said, you just watched Aliens, like all the dangling chains and the heavy industrial space. Like this final scene was that kind of, there's a dangling chain there. And it felt very Aliens to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a motif I think goes back to the original too, where, there's throughout the films, they'll hide the xenomorph in these industrial settings. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we see all that several times in this with the statue or in the shadows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, that the direction, the direction and the cinematography is brilliant because you don't see, even though the xenomorph is there and it's clear that it's standing there the whole time, you don't see it until the director is ready to let you see it. And
I saw the statue in the elevator lobby there, and I was like, that's got a particular shape and a color to it. I wonder if he's going to use it. And sure enough, I was like, oh, good. And it was great. And it was satisfying. Like every time the creature detaches itself from the background, if I saw it or didn't see it, if I was expecting or didn't expect it, I'm satisfied every time in how that's revealed to us.
And this is the thing, every scene, the first thing you are doing, every scene transition,
scanning the
background. It's like the world's most messed up version of Where's Waldo.
When they were walking into the clothing shop on the first floor of the building with all the mannequins, I'm like, like looking for, where the creepy crawlies in this room. It's perfect. Like he's doing such a good job on all of that. So let's talk about the 1996 Tool song called Stinkfist. Again, it's one of these arena rock songs that Noah Hawley seems to be, I think he's going to be using them at the end of every episode. We've got a pattern starting. Are either of you Tool fans by chance?
No.
I mean, I listened to them a bit back in the day, in the 90s,
okay.
yeah.
Very much in the grunge world, right? And the heavy, extreme music. And I thought that
not that extreme, yeah.
No,
but okay. So my one of my best friends in high school was really into death metal. So my calibration of what's extreme is maybe a little. And they would like that group that was into the death metal would be like, "Oh, Tool, that's the light stuff," Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Thematically, it seems again, this idea of needing to feel alive because we're overstimulated, we're feeling numb, and so we need to keep ramping up our stimulation to actually feel something. So I think that plays with the whole synth thing, but also Boy Cavalier wanting to be stimulated in some way. And one of the lines of the lyrics is, "It's not enough. I need more. Nothing seems to satisfy. I don't want it. I just need it to breathe, to feel, to know I'm alive."
So that's Wendy.
Yes, exactly. But there's some. I would read some Boy K in there as well. Like he needs the stimulation. He needs to be excited.
But he's past his peak and he's begun dying every day a little more.
Luke, is the end music working for you?
Yeah, I mean it's not my bag. It's not my cup of tea. But
sure.
Are they going to do these 2-episode drops going forward?
No, it's one for one now for the next 6 weeks.
I did like it. It's a really good way of like driving you into the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you watch them all when it's done, when you watch all 8 episodes back to back, which I'm going to do because that's how I watch. How I watch seasons. I watch them week by week. I need to see how it all lines up in the end.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that when you put them all together, I think that's going to be a really cool effect, actually.
Yeah. And I think it's a way, again, I think Noah Hawley's being very intentional about it. And whether you like it or not, whether it's your cup of tea or not, he's doing something with the form. And that's one of the things that I appreciate him as a television director, is that he's aware of the form and he's trying to do stuff with it and do things that sort of push and pull. Same like The Bear. I think The Bear has changed, changing the shape and the boundaries of television. I think when we get to season 5, we're going to look back over The Bear and we're going to go, okay, this is not episodic television in the way that we're used to doing it. So I just like the fact that Hawley is trying and experimenting with formatting.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He's a gift to our screens and a gift to FX, and FX sure knows it.
Well, any concluding thoughts or wrap-ups? Luke, anything that you want to...
I'm really excited for where this goes.
Yeah.
I mean, Noah Hawley has already sort of said that this isn't going to happen, but I do hope for a bit more sort of Prometheus, Black Goo, engineers. callback at some point. It's not that I'm just a Prometheus stan. I think that did really interesting things for the world of Alien.
Okay.
I'd be disappointed if it was just completely dropped out of the lore.
Right.
Really looking forward to the rest of the season. I do think it has to, like I've said before earlier in the episode, I think it does have to be careful to walk that line between I want to be scared and not disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the very hard line to walk, but I think there were a couple of times in this episode where, again, the thing with the eyeball, it's a small thing, but it just didn't hit right.
But chest burster, I
don't know what it is, but my reaction was not to go, like I say, it was to go, ew, which is not the reaction you want.
Well, I think it is.
I think he's going to be swimming through that line, right? In between those. And the question is, can he navigate it finely enough so that nobody gets turned off?
Yeah.
And checks out.
I think this has always been it's always been about the gross stuff and especially body horror. So I think that this is
the
like
original was very sexual in many ways.
Yeah, and at least this is not like sexual in that kind of yet. We'll get to the.
We'll see. Hopefully not.
I mean the general the life cycle of the xenomorph gets a bit rapey, but it is a gross out IP, I think, and I think that's always turned some people off, and probably the same people here, but maybe because it's 2025, they're now able to make the gross grosser with the more hyper-realism.
And we're seeing stuff on television like a body cut in half crawling on the floor on television on Disney on a Disney distributed thing. So that is a change for sure.
I do like the story from the original Alien of Sigourney Weaver tells it of her turning up on set the day they were doing the chestburster scene, and she's walking past Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett, who are the writers and the producers, and they're wearing like full Macintosh. That's weird. And apparently they were just sitting in the corner like giggling like schoolboys.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Because all it said in the script was alien appears.
Right.
It's got John Hurt having a seizure on the table, but it doesn't explain how you get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So when Veronica Cartwright screams in the background, that is not
legitimate.
That is an entirely legitimate reaction.
Right. Great. Well, I think we're going to be carrying on for the next 6 episodes. So I would invite you guys, since we're going to be rotating hosts, if you want to send me in a voicemail or, hit me a Discord message, something like that, I'd be curious to keep incorporating your thoughts as we rotate things. And then, Elysia, you and John and I were, I don't know, the idea came up in passing today. Maybe we'll do a season recap,
like a
just the 3 of us.
Yeah,
the 3 Lorehounds.
Yeah, because John was, I guess he's busy with Foundation and One Piece. But I think the buzz got him to watch this. And then he was like, oh, actually, maybe I want to talk about this a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So next week, I've got Ian and Mark. Ian from Captain's Pod and Mark from Nevermind the Music. And then the week after, we have a couple of our Lore Master subscribers, Duve71 and Brian8063 are going to be joining me. So that's going to be a very cool thing. And then I've got Stephen Anthony, and then I've got Ron Dawson and from Dungeons and Durags, and then Aisha from every single sci-fi film ever. She and I have bonded over, we have done our time covering the Alien verse with some crossover episodes back in the day, only just like last year. So that is the lineup, and we will be with you with our podcast probably Friday evenings or Saturday mornings, most likely Saturday mornings on the public feed, because we're juggling. We've got Peacemaker, we've got Foundation, and we've got some other stuff that's happening. So busy here. But thank you, Luke, for raising your hand, jumping up and down, saying that you needed to talk about aliens. Big me. Always fun to talk with you. Elysia, what's happening with We'll Shift Dust? You got some... I know you talked about it on the previous episode, but you can re-ping it today.
But just a recap. If you want to hear more of Luke and I bantering, then come over to We'll Shift Dust. And we are talking about Dune now. And of course, we will be talking about Silas Season 3 once that comes back, probably end of the year or beginning of next. But we'll do, when we get news, we'll also drop some updates on that.
Very cool. Too. And then you've got Peacemaker coming up as well. You've been excited for this.
I love Peacemaker. So we're going to do, I think it's going to be just Sean and I for the recap episode coming out not too long after this, if you like beginning of next week.
Okay.
And then it's going to be Jean, Aaron, and I doing the weekly breakdowns of the episodes. So I think,
main feed.
I think we're going to be releasing them on Mondays.
Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you both again. And definitely keep sending me in your thoughts and voicemails or anything like that to add into the show. I'd be happy to keep adding build up some voices. That's one thing I was sad about with Andor is that we didn't get to bring everybody back around. It was a bit of a... it was a lot. That was a big production.
It was a lot, yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for our coverage of Alien Earth Season 1. We hope our conversation has added to your enjoyment of the xenomorphic mysteries and the many layered allegories that Noah Hawley has brought to the series. You can find links to all of our affiliates, our Patreon and Supercast pages, and Discord in the show notes for the episode. Look for the link tree, which has everything. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the episode and series. Send us your feedback and we'll answer and read it on our next podcast. Send emails to avp@thelorehounds.com or send us a voicemail. You can use the voicemail tool on our website, thelorehounds.com/contact, or record a note on your smartphone and email it to us at the same address. If you have enjoyed our approach, please consider supporting independent podcasters like us by subscribing on either Patreon or Supercast. Your support allows us to continue to produce comprehensive podcasts like these for the shows and films that matter most to our community. And at the end, we always like to give a special shout out to our Discord server boosters who help keep our community thriving. Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Perdition, and Radioactive Richard. And our deepest gratitude goes to our Lore Master subscribers whose top tier support makes everything we do possible. Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, Brian P, SC, Peter O.H, Adam S, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Matthew M, Sarah M, Andra B, Kwang Yu, Deadeye Jedi Bob, Nathan T, Alex V, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dally V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Neil F, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Kali S, Ilmariel /Tim, Paul K, Bobby C, Jessica H, and always last but never least, Adrian. The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by the Lorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employer or other entities. Thanks for listening.